video may contain content parents may find unsuitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's Hunger again, and welcome once again to the weekly podcast stream. So, let's see, this is not, shuffle on. There we go. Why is this, shuffle, there we go. Alright, sorry. Alright. So anyway, we are going to be doing some nice, powerful podcasting tonight, and one of the things I wanted to do was kind of to run a lot of programs at once. I'm running Discord so I can talk to people. I'm running my media player so I can fix this, so I can have some music in the background, because heaven forbid I play Minecraft's music, they'll copyright claim the crap out of me. You know, just generally. Anyway, and then I have Discord running, like I said, so I can talk to people. So like I said, I have a lot of programs running, you know, including the Internet Explorer and everything. So yeah, OBS during these moments sometimes likes to just crap all over itself. So that's probably going to happen a lot tonight. Just FYI. Anyway. I guess I will jump in on the Discord chat so that everybody else can kind of warn me in real time when OBS is having a bad day. So, anyway, I don't know how much of what I was saying earlier got cut off, but basically, the idea for tonight is I would like to start on another room like this, but with the upgraded classes from Final Fantasy.
Oh, cool.
So, I was thinking originally about, like, maybe putting it underneath this, but Caps has some stuff down here already.
Greetings.
Huh.
So I don't want to mess with Caps' stuff down here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So, a lot of that can get destroyed.
A lot of it can be destroyed.
The only thing that's really down there that's of any value is that fucking chest, those chests you see.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what's taking all the mob shit.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know that you've got like a thing that's like automatically killing slimes as they pop up. And then you've got the chests that are collecting the loots. So like I said, I'm not wanting to like really mess with what you're doing here. It's possible that I could just kind of build around it, though. I think.
I assure you, I mean, the only thing, like literally only thing that's worth mentioning down there, like everything else can go.
Yeah.
It's just those chests that I'm trying to save.
Okay.
But I did dig up as high as we could go before you hit the ceiling of the town.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was trying to dig down, because like, you know, it basically the options would be either dig down or like put it on one side or the other. And
yeah, I didn't watch stream at all last week. You can kind of guess why.
Yeah, no, like yeah, you like popped in like ever so briefly to tell us what an amazing time you were having, and your voice was all hoarse and
Yeah,
still hoarse if you can't
screaming,
tell.
shouting into the mic.
And actually, that's because this past week I was running a fever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Like I was running
Really
a fucking
tough.
fever, and I was just like I've had a cold. I've been all 10 kinds of shit.
Yeah, see that's the only type of running that I do these days. Running a cold, running a fever, you know.
See what I think what ended up happening was when we were coming home from the gathering, I'm still in my fucking like Fago covered outfit. Like, you know, I'm like drenched in fucking Fago, rain. And my stupid ass decides, hey, maybe I'm just gonna ride home in this instead of changing first.
Yeah.
It's a 3-hour fucking drive.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
kind of had that. I kind of deserved that one.
Yeah, like,
That was instant karma.
yeah.
But the gathering itself was fun as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm actually here this week. I wanted to talk about it. I have to talk about it. There's too much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I watched the clips that you posted on YouTube. They looked pretty cool.
oh yeah, that Case Kane guy.
Yeah,
He.
I saw that you posted where he commented on it.
Oh, it wasn't even just that. He actually hung out. He actually before the show even started. Because it was me and my brother went to this. It was just us two.
Uh-huh.
And before this, he's walking around. Case is walking around with the fucking megaphone, yelling out to people. He's like, "Come see my show!" And we're walking in the other direction from the stage. And he's like, "Where are you going? My show's this way." My brother's like, my brother just goes back to him. He's like, "I have to take a shit." He's like, "When you get out of the bathroom, come back and watch me."
That's funny.
And that dude ended up. I later went to go see a Whitney Payton concert later that day, and he came up to where I was at. Him and his crew was standing like right in front of me the whole fucking time. I was like, dude, chilling with these guys, like watching fucking Whitney Payton, and she's fucking insane on stage. Like she gets up on fucking, like she has somebody fucking grabbing her fucking legs to hold her up while she's just fucking sitting there yelling and screaming her fucking songs and shit.
Man, how do you get that job? Whitney Payton's leg grabber.
Right.
Dude, there was this one chick up there. I think her name was like Face Tat Mommy or some shit like that. But she gets up on stage, and I don't really care for songs. Like she's kind of generic, but it's all about the presentation. Like she's all fucking got like fake blood dripping down her mouth, and fucking she's got like a white fucking tutu on and shit.
Yeah.
Like
so like the Kiss school of music, it's all about like how awesome the show is rather than how much your music, how great your music is,
Yeah, that's pretty much what the Mac Sabbath concert was, and those are getting fucking nice hits right now.
Yeah.
Like those Mac Sabbath fucking videos I have, like the first one got like over 1,000 views in like one day. Like before I'd even had it like fully uploaded, I was like, holy shit. But no, this Face Tat Mommy girl, she yells out to the fucking crowd at the end of her show. She's like, if you come buy my merchandise, I'll spit in your mouth.
Ah! Damn. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And now you see why they cancel stuff like that during COVID.
Exactly, man.
Just that one face tat bitch ruining it for everybody.
But it's like, but then there was, oh god. But like, oh dude, like there was also this one point. So our camp, we're hanging outside the fucking camp. They actually tell us not to camp out in the parking lot, but everybody else was, so we decided fuck it. And we got there late on the second night. We're just like fuck it. Didn't want to bother, trying to find a place inside the fucking venue to set up camp and shit. And we just set up at like right where we fucking parked and everything. And there was this one lady that was like down a little ways from us who'd also set up camp and shit, and she came over to us like the next day, started talking to us, flirting a little bit and everything, and she kept doing this, by the way. Like there was a couple times she came over to talk to us and flirt and everything. And she was the mother. She was only like 50, like I mean, you gotta. I'm honestly, I'm almost 40 at this point. A
Yeah.
50-year-old chick doesn't bother me.
Right.
But it's like, but it's like, but we started flirting and everything, and she tells me that her son is a performer. He's actually going up on stage, and he goes by the name like I want to say like NGS or something. And so I looked this guy up. And he's all fucking gothed out, like long fucking metal hair, fucking white face paint, upside down cross on his forehead. He's holding up a fucking skin mask.
Oh God.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
I'm just like, I'm gonna fuck this dude's mom.
Oh man.
Like, The Gathering was something else, man.
Yeah, sounds
Oh
fun.
God.
Jeez.
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
And that's why he dresses like he's in mourning.
Oh, dude, his fucking. I found out his fucking campsite, his specific campsite. His camper was actually covered in a fake fucking like pirate ship.
Oh, how funny!
Like
Nice.
that was something else. Like, and it was like right behind the main fucking stage, and I had no idea what the fuck it was this whole time, and it was that guy.
Yeah, that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was. I mean, there was some shit there. Like I'd seen more fucking. I'm pretty sure I've seen more fucking titties like there at the Gathering than I have on fucking Pornhub in the past week.
Oh man, that's pretty great.
But I mean, it's not. I mean, and there's, it's a combination. Like I was telling people, I said it's like if 4chan, like it was like if 4chan was a real life, had like a real life meetup, but everybody actually gave a shit about one another.
Oh
Like,
man, imagine
Yes,
people on 4chan giving a shit.
Because like the whole thing about like the Gathering is like juggalos are all about like family. Like they actually consider, like everybody is like a brother, like everybody's equal. Like they that's kind of like their thing, and it's like and so there were barely any fights there that happened.
Yeah.
Like, and the only fight I'd seen was one guy trying to argue with a guard. But it's like you don't see too many fights unless somebody gets drunk and stupid. But but a lot of inconsiderate assholes though, like like because they say you can go doing whatever the fuck you want. Like you can go in there and be who you want to be. So one guy, he wanted to be the guy that wore the fucking pink tutu and fucking danced around with his fucking lace thing in every goddamn video that I tried to take.
Jeez. Just photobombing everything.
Or no, what ended up happening was, so there was so I told you, you've seen the pictures. I've met ICP, I've met Alien Ant Farm. ICP is awesome. Like the men themselves, they are cool people. Like they actually they seemed more interested in me than I was in them.
Yeah.
When I came in, the first thing I said was, I'm like, you guys are the coolest motherfuckers on the planet. Like they have this entire following. These people aren't even all there for ICP. They're there for the concerts. And this was all put together. This has been going on for 23 years now.
Yeah.
It's like they put this all together, and they're just two fucking backwater guys from Detroit. Like they're just dudes. They're not that business savvy. They're not that smart. They're just themselves.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that. I kind of respect that. They're pretty cool guys. But it was just like, but Violent J actually tried to make, he made his fans actually feel like welcome, like he actually wanted you to, or he wanted to. I don't know how to, kind of like, it was just like giving back, like,
Yeah.
he's like, he knew we were fans. He was like, well, what about you? What's your deal? Like,
Yeah.
and that actually felt truly kind of nice.
Yeah.
But the Alien Ant Farm one, that's an interesting story in and of itself. When we went to go see them, and actually, if you look up on YouTube, you'll find us in the full set video of the gathering. Like, I'm actually like right out front.
Yeah.
Like halfway through the video, you'll see my fucking long hair gas like all over the fucking thing. But the dude we were standing next to, he was this curly haired motherfucker. He had a fucking water gun full of Fago, and he was shooting the fucking lead singer of Alien Ant Farm the whole fucking time, following him around on the stage, was constantly trying to fucking annoy him on purpose, doing it to be an ass. And then the dude kept looking back at us, like he was like trying to get our approval or something, like, or just like, dude, check out what I'm doing. It's like, dude, we don't fucking care. I'm here for the songs.
Right.
Like, but,
yeah, he's like trying to troll people, and it's just like,
but
like, I get it. He's got an opinion about the music or something, but that's no reason to fucking be a dick.
Yeah, no reason to be so judgmental, right?
But he specifically kept looking at my brother, like nonstop. Like kept trying to start conversations with my brother and everything. My brother wasn't really dealing with him and everything. But after the concert, we go to see Alien Ant Farm. Like, we actually go and wait for him. Like, it took an hour for them to show the fuck up. And and we're waiting there in line, and we finally get to meet them. And the lead singer thinks my brother was doing that. He actually asks my brother. He actually asks my brother, I shit you not. He's like, "Are you some kind of jerk off?" Like, to my brother, who is the biggest fucking fan of theirs, like, loves their fucking music, had their CD, and he asked him that. And at first, my brother was confused. He was like, "What the fuck did I do wrong?" And it took me all fucking week to realize what was going on. And then I saw the playback video, and I'm like, "Oh shit, it all makes sense now."
Yeah.
It's because that motherfucker kept trying to talk to you. It's like, that guy thought you were responsible.
Jeez.
Like, and it's actually kind of, it actually does kind of sting when you get, like, one of your bands, like somebody you actually genuinely love, does something like that to you, and it's because they've got the wrong information themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, it didn't really sour the experience of getting to meet them so much as it did kind of. I mean, it did. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, he actually wasn't even upset about that. He probably would be for a while. But at the same time, it's like, I kind of understand why that guy was upset. Like, he was pretty pissed off. And like you can tell, like, in the videos and shit, if you go back and watch him, like, he's running back and forth on the stage. He's like kicking shit up. Like, he's literally, like, he's trying to make sure people stop throwing shit at him. Like, that was a constant thing during the fucking during one of the shows. There was a guy behind us with a giant fucking slingshot, a 2-person slingshot, mind you. One of those ones that, like, send shit flying, like, halfway across the fucking football field. Loaded that fucker up with spaghetti and launched it at the fucking stage.
God. This is why normal concerts have security.
Like, they had security, but at the same time, it's like, they're old guys, and, like, genuinely out of shape and stuff. And it's like, you can't really expect them to do too much. They're basically there to enjoy themselves too.
Yeah.
The gathering is fun, but it's one of those. I'm trying to word this correctly. It's an event. There are going to be some bad apples to spoil some of the moments, but at the same time, I don't think it made it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take away from all the great moments because there are so many cool fucking bands.
Yeah.
So many cool fucking bands that get up on stage. They have the balls to go out there and perform for all these fucking hundreds of thousands of fucking people. You realize that these crowds usually draw about 20,000 people per show. Like 20,000 people is nothing to fucking scoff at. Like that's a small town. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, and that's why they do it, because it's one of the bigger venues that they can possibly ever get to see just how big their fan base really is.
Yeah.
And it's nice because it gets to be personal too. Like, shit, dude, I got to see fucking Yellow Wolf. Like, I walk right past his goddamn tent. He's just sitting there fucking talking to some other guy who got up on stage earlier. And I'm just like, I just look at him for a moment, just keep on walking by.
Yeah.
Like he was just there though.
Yeah.
By the way, Hunker,
Mm-hmm.
I also do have to say, Goatman finally saw the Transformers movie.
Oh yeah.
The animated Transformers movie.
Uh-huh.
And he told me, he said it's very generic, like he kind of saw where the plot was going. And I said, yeah, it's an 80s cartoon, don't expect much.
Right.
I was still surprised by how many fucking people died. Like, I keep forgetting how many fucking Transformers they just kill off for no fucking reason.
Right. Basically, the way that the people who were kind of in charge of the movie put it was, to them, they were basically kind of cleaning out the cast for the second half, because they were basically getting ready to do, new toy lines and everything, and they wanted to, basically clear out the guys that they figured were pretty much done, so that they could focus on the new characters for the new toy line. So that was kind of their mindset going into it, was, oh, this is a new toy line, new
that was an incredibly stupid idea.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many characters that, like, who the fuck even was that? Like, right at the very start, he gets shot, his face just melts.
Oh.
Like,
you talk about you talk about the guys in the ship that Megatron attacks with the Decepticons?
Yeah, like right at the start.
So that was Brawn, Ratchet, Ironhide, and Blue Streak.
I knew Ratchet was in there.
Yeah, Brawn got hit in the shoulder and died. I don't know how that works. I think he got because he was charging forward at the time, I think the shot actually passed through his torso, after it hit him in the shoulder. Because he had his shoulder down, charging, and he got shot, and like I said, I think it went through his torso and killed him that way. And then Blue Streak got up next. Pretty sure that was Blue Streak and not Prowl. Because the two of them they're mold mates. They have the same fucking look to them. So it's sometimes hard, and their paint schemes are not that different, so they're really hard to distinguish sometimes.
Wait, hold up. Maybe it was Prowl, because I thought it was because at first I thought it was like Jazz or some shit, and I was like, no, Jazz dies later.
Yeah, well, Jazz actually lives through the movie.
Oh, you're right.
He dies in the live action movie, but he lives through the animated one. Everybody who died in the live, everybody who died in the animated movie ended up living through the first Bay film, and vice versa. Pretty much, except for Bumblebee, and Bumblebee was the only exception. He instead of dying, he just lost his legs. But basically. Everybody who died in the original Transformers movie ended up coming out just fine, out of the Bay film, and then everybody who lived in that movie got fucked up somehow. So, cause like, yeah, it was just kind of funny, like,
But yeah, we watched that. That was the last day of the gathering. It was like playing. They have like a movie tent where they just play all these movies for the full day, and that was we watched that, and I liked it. I still love it. Like I thought it was great that they would actually play that. They played that at the gathering.
Yeah.
Like it shows that like because it actually like that actually helped, or that was kind of like my moment of I'm where I belong.
Yeah. Well, like the whole thing with that movie is like for a kid during the 80s, like did they have the fully uncensored version?
Yeah, the one with the shit.
Yeah, because that's how you can tell is if they leave the shit in there. Because if it's because there's a couple of different versions of it, like, and there's some censored versions that because when it actually hit theaters in the U.S., they actually had the shit taken out in the theaters. That only wound up in theaters in like Canada and like a couple other places. Like it wasn't part of the theatrical run in the U.S. So they actually cut that out for the theatrical release as well, as if I recall correctly. I think it was because they were trying to get a specific rating and they couldn't get it with the shit left in. So they played ball with the MPAA and took it out. But
and now it's what you can have like 2 shits now in a PG-13 movie or something.
Yeah, I think they wanted like a. I can't remember if they were trying for PG-13 or just PG with the Transformers movie because there is a dam in there, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because.
Open, damn it, open.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I think there was actually a dam in in a Disney movie that got a G rating, like So yeah, like I think it was The Great Mouse Detective, if I remember correctly, because that movie was probably
I would think it would be like Hunchback of Notre Dame.
No, because Great Mouse Detective, if you actually go back and watch that fucking movie, it's actually one of the darkest movies Disney did as far as like back in the day, like for its time for its era.
That's right. That was the Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's the Sherlock Holmes send up where it's the mouse version of Holmes, and like there's a point where like it shows a mouse literally being swallowed whole by a cat in silhouette, like. Jeez. And I think the mouse was drunk at the time too. Like, so
the mouse was drunk. He was singing about how great his boss was, but he accidentally calls him a rat, and the rat doesn't like when you do that. So he summons the cat, and it swallows him whole while he's singing, and his friends watching.
Yeah, everybody's watching in horror. You get to see all the shocked reactions as he gets killed.
Yeah, the score cuts out, like the lighting's super fucking somber. You see his silhouette fucking disappear.
Yeah, you see the silhouette disappear down the cat's gullet. Like, it's just, one of the more, like for a Disney movie, that's pretty dark.
Yeah, I want to say Ratigan himself has a pretty gruesome death.
Yeah, like the whole, because. Thing is, Disney Disney has this reputation as being like this super child-friendly company, but they didn't start out that way necessarily, and they didn't always like maintain that, because originally they were more of a let's just make animation type company, but people started to label them as being okay for children, so they kind of leaned into it a little bit after a while, because
I didn't put this chest over here, by
the way.
I'm back. You can take whatever's in there.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's like a bunch of home spells.
Oh, okay. yeah, because if you look at the first few movies Disney did, they did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is pretty tame, arguably. But then, like, they did Bambi, which, like, people were just shocked that, because Bambi, like, was completely different from Snow White. Didn't have any didn't really have any songs in it, and it was very gritty and realistic, compared to the previous one. And Walt Disney was working on a script for a Little Mermaid movie that he was planning on doing, and he was going to kill her in that movie. He was going to have her die like she does in the book. Walt ended up dying before his version of the Little Mermaid could be actualized. Yeah.
Damn.
So like, it's something where, Disney wasn't necessarily Walt Disney didn't necessarily set out to just exclusively make shit for children. He was wanting to make some serious animated stuff. Like, if you look at Fantasia, like, that was definitely not necessarily imagined with children in mind. It was meant for really kind of people with a little more culture under their belts, like it had some very, like, scary imagery in there, some maybe demonic imagery, like,
Yeah, and wasn't like Elephants on Parade, wasn't that, like, highly experimental at the time or some shit like that?
There was a lot of stuff in Fantasia that was kind of labeled as experimental.
I'm talking about that one was from Dumbo.
Oh, the pink elephants?
Yeah, the Elephants on Parade.
Yeah. Yeah, like, the thing is, Disney kind of, they like to call what they do Disney magic, and part of the thing with that is they, just like a magician, they don't want to reveal how they do their tricks. So for a long time, they used rotoscoping in their animation, and it was like their dirty little secret. They didn't want anybody to know they were rotoscoping, And it's funny because I've seen these videos online where they're like, oh, they used recycled animation for this movie, or they used recycled animation for that movie, and it's showing, like, scenes from Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood movie, and how they look exactly like these scenes from, like, The Jungle Book, for example. And
that's the obvious one.
Right, but the thing is, that's not what they're doing. They're not taking those same animation cells and, changing them a little bit and reusing them. What's happening is they are reanimating the whole thing, but they're using the same scene that was rotoscoped for the other movie. Because rotoscoping, if you're not familiar with it, is a technique in animation where you film a real person doing something. So you make a live action movie of a character, of a person doing an action, and then you animate over that. You basically trace the person. Yeah. Like, you stop it frame by frame, and then trace each frame with the character that you're animating. So basically they use the same rotoscoped footage to make those scenes in The Jungle Book and Robin Hood. They just reused the rotoscope footage, that they had lying around, rather than rotoscoping new footage, which is why the scenes look so similar. But like I said, Disney didn't want anybody to know they were rotoscoping at the time, so that was kind of a blunder of theirs, because, like I said, and people who weren't familiar with rotoscoping thought that they had done something else. So, yeah. But yeah, it's funny too, because the movie Rock-a-Doodle?
Yeah.
No. So there's an animated movie called Rock-a-Doodle. Disney didn't make it. It was made by another movie studio. But it's about a rooster who thinks that he's the one that makes the sunrise, right? He's like, oh, my songs are what makes the sunrise. I'm super important,
Oh.
Anyway, Disney actually had a similar script at one point. And so they had these character designs for this rooster who was going to be like the main character of this movie. But they ended up scrapping the movie. They ended up trashing the whole concept, except for the character designs for the rooster, because that rooster ended up becoming that minstrel that basically narrates the Robin Hood movie.
Huh.
So like they made some small changes to his overall design, to his costume, but not like his overall character design, and he became like the narrator for the Disney Robin Hood movie. Like, so he was like the only vestige of that of that Rockadoodle-esque movie to survive. So, you know. And if we had gotten that original movie, we probably wouldn't have gotten Rockadoodle, because everybody would have thought they were just copying Disney, and so, you know, yeah.
I mean, that didn't.
It doesn't necessarily stop people from doing similar movies or concepts to what Disney does, but like a lot of the time when Disney does a version of like a fairy tale or a fable, like people consider that to be like the definitive version, you know, and they, you know, which is kind of, you know, so a lot of people will kind of give up on doing that story themselves, you know. But I mean, I wouldn't say that that Disney is always the definitive version, but like, you know, Disney did the Legend of Sleepy Hollow at one point, right? And if you're not familiar with it, it's basically the story of the Headless Horseman.
Yeah, I'm.
You know, right? But you know, for those who aren't, but anyway, if you ever get the chance, like Google a picture of Ichabod Crane from the Disney version of Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
I know. I have the exact image in my head right now.
Right, and then read the description of the man in the book. Because it's literally just exactly what they're describing in the book. Like, they fucking nailed it.
Like a spindly little man.
No, like they talk about how his head looks like a weather vane and like all this other shit. like
I can see.
Yeah, like if you look at the description in the book, like the way that Disney drew Ichabod Crane in that, the way that they drew an animated Ichabod Crane in their adaptation was absolutely flawless. So that to me is always going to be the definitive version of that particular story, just because of how accurately they nailed the author's description of Ichabod Crane. You know, because yeah, and you can find the book. I think it's available for free on Gutenberg, because it's one of those books that's like long past public domain. You know.
Oh yeah.
So,
definitely.
So yeah, it's definitely part of public domain, so it's easy to find. But yeah, I was, because I remember reading it and I was like, whoa, and I like went and Googled the picture of Disney's version of Ichabod Crane, and I was like, they fucking nailed it. And I read somebody the passage while I showed them the picture, and they were like, holy crap, that's spot on, you know. Like, you know. But that said, they don't always get things so right. You know, I've mentioned this a few times, but Alice in Wonderland, Disney's version. For one thing, Lewis Carroll wrote 2 books about Alice. He wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So there are 2 books that Disney was drawing from when they made that movie. So basically, Disney's version, Disney's movie Alice in Wonderland actually contains stories from both books. So they kind of took parts of both books and sort of mashed them together into a single narrative. You know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing per se. You know, they still got some actual canon stories from the book done. But the part that I tend to be most critical about of Disney for in that situation is Alice herself, because in the first book for the first book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, they don't really mention how old Alice is, but in the second one, she's 6.5. Like they mention her age in that Carol mentions her age in that book. And
Alice is only 6 years old in the books?
she's only so yeah, and because Through the Looking Glass takes place after Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and you can tell this because of her cat, because the cat is just a single cat in the first book, and the cat has kittens in the second. So you can tell that the cat is that things have progressed since the first book by that. But yeah, and Alice is described in Through the Looking Glass as being 6.5 years old. So she was presumably only 6 years old during Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and not 12 or so like she is in the Disney movie. And that seems to be kind of across the board in all adaptations of Alice in Wonderland.
That's what I was trying to say.
She's nearly always up-aged. And part of it is because they don't want to deal with child actors, I'm sure, but yeah, in an animated situation, you don't necessarily need to deal with a child actor, so it's kind of curious why they decided to, like, because I think they really wanted it to be more of a coming-of-age story, in the, because I think they were trying to frame it as Alice being afraid of growing up and escaping to Wonderland to kind of get away from that. Is kind of how I took it, because there was actually a point where it was after Kingdom Hearts came out, actually, and I went through and I noticed something about all of the movies that were represented in Kingdom Hearts, like all the ones that got like their own world and everything. And I want to say it's like everybody except for like Pinocchio, who technically didn't get his own entire world. Like they did have an area based on Monstro the Whale, but it wasn't necessarily like his entire world or anything. But basically, all the characters that got like their own like stylized world and everything, every single one of those movies that those characters came from, except for I think Winnie the Pooh, had a song about other worlds in it. Like, so, for example, Aladdin had A Whole New World. Alice in Wonderland had In a World of My Own. Tarzan had the song Two Worlds, One Family. So, like, it was like, yeah, like I actually got like compiled a list of all the songs at one point, but yeah, like
Kingdom Hearts official soundtrack.
Yeah, so it was like but yeah, it was just interesting that that there were all these movies like they all have like little songs in them that have stuff about escaping to other worlds and things, when that was like one of the central themes to Kingdom Hearts. So
also, I thought you said boobies for a second there. Oh. I was like, wait, what?
Kind of like how I used to joke though about how back in the early days of Pixar, damn near all of their movies involved finding somebody.
Yeah.
Like it was up until a certain point. Like every fucking Pixar movie that came out, it was like they were trying to find somebody or something.
Yeah, finding Nemo, finding Buzz, finding Woody, finding
finding randomness.
Yeah.
Finding Lightning McQueen in a different town.
Yeah.
Like, because people were tracking him down in that movie. Like, people were trying to find out where the fuck he ran off to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it is interesting how there's certain themes that kind of occur over Little Mermaid had part of that world, so yeah, like I'm just just talking about
wait, I wonder if that continues on into the new. into the new generations.
I don't think it does because with Kingdom Hearts, because like I know that they did like I know they did Tron, which is technically kind of an isekai story anyway, but they did like Lion King, you know, and but yeah, let's see, I think
I want to look up how many fucking Disney songs have the word "world" in their title now.
yeah, like there's a lot of them. Like it's just, and like I said, they like and most of them found their way into the Kingdom Hearts thing. I think
that's a really weird coincidence too.
yeah, and I think was it Hercules that didn't have one? Because like, or was there one? I can't remember. Like
Might have been Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas was also kind of an isekai
It was
sort of
a
story.
story
So,
about other worlds.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So it still fits the theming.
Yeah, it was something where, you know, I think What's This is still thematically pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's not specifically talking about another world, it's still.
It's that discovery. That's what they're.
Yeah, it's the theme of discovery and of finding a place that's different from where you are and things like that. So like it's still thematically very appropriate. But yeah, I think Hercules also didn't really like, because Hercules was one of the worlds from the original Kingdom Hearts, and I don't think they had a world theme going on in there. But like I said, there sure were a lot of them that did. Like,
yeah, Hercules world was the arena world.
It was basically
first.
a coliseum, like so. It was,
yeah.
So gameplay wise, it was mechanically very different from a lot of the other worlds, since there wasn't like a ton of plot to do there. It was just kind of, just kind of go.
Honestly, yeah. When you point out some of it, the functionality, like thematically, of every world in Kingdom Hearts is kind of astoundingly present.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, yeah, it's just, but yeah, it was something I noticed like way back in the day. I was like, oh, hey, this is interesting here that they kind of keep this whole, theme, and Winnie the Pooh. If you look back, not at like the animated series and all the spin-offs and everything, but like if you look back at the core original movie, the book series that the original book series spawned. If you look back at the canon stuff, that's actually very much like a coming of age type story as well. So, so like I said, it's interesting that there's so many of these kind of central, because like I said, I feel like Disney for a long time was like very, like, that was like kind of clinging to these sort of coming of age type stories, and they still kind of are in a lot of ways, like. There's a lot.
I mean, I guess that's pretty safe for family entertainment.
Yeah, they do a lot of those.
Oh, we help you grow with our movies, and then now movies will help your kids grow, and you'll continue to give us money.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, but speaking of Disney, though, I was gonna ask, did you guys know about the SAG-AFTRA strike going on right now, right?
The what?
The what?
SAG-AFTRA strike.
Oh, the Screen Actors Guild. Yeah,
like all the actors and all the writers are on strike right now. We've got nobody running Hollywood at the moment.
Good.
And fucking. But here's the thing. When this is some fucked up shit. So there was a quote that once they were trying to keep it from being attributed to who they eventually found out it was attributed to. Was saying basically that they were going to let the protests run on until people lost their homes, lost their livelihoods, and shit like that. They just didn't give two fucks. And you know who ended up saying that? Fucking Bob Iger.
Yeah.
The head of fucking Disney.
Yeah.
Just wants people to lose their fucking homes and their livelihoods because he makes $27 fucking million per fucking contract. Like, it's just bullshit how much more money he makes per year than his own fucking employees, and he just feels like he can spit spit on them like that. It's like,
Yeah.
that pissed me off. Like when I heard about that, I love that Ron Perlman flat out says though, like Ron Perlman gets on this video and he's like, "Listen, motherfucker, there's more than one way to lose your home." He's
Right.
like, "We know where you live."
Jeez.
Like it's gonna get bad. Like it's gonna get really bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Eventually, it'll start coming to that point more and more regularly, is my hypothesis.
Yeah. Well,
I'm betting so too, because considering how recently, like we had a writer's strike. What was it, like a decade ago?
yeah, I
Like,
remember that. Like there was a big strike.
But
In
it's like-
relatively recent memory, like not like super recent, but like, yeah.
But yeah, it's like if it was, I mean, if it's already happening with, like if both sides are out now, that means it's gonna be a while before anything gets back up and running for starters.
Right.
Secondly, like all these projects that these fucking Hollywood bigwigs have in the works right now,
Dead in the fucking water. Yeah.
they're dead in the fucking water. They have no fucking chance to get any of this stuff off the ground now.
Right.
Like Deadpool 3, I am hyped as shit for, but I will wait for a fucking 5-10 fucking years when this movie finally comes out,
Right.
because they're just gonna wait. Like
Yeah.
they're wait until all this shit blows over to start working on this stuff again, start releasing this stuff again.
Here's my thing, right? So I feel like unions and whatnot do serve a purpose and function. However, there is a point where the union no longer really has that function anymore, and yet continues to exist, and in those situations a union can become harmful. And what I mean by that,
it's just another organization, calling the shots.
what I mean by that is there are a lot of businesses, like Amazon is a good example, where conditions are really bad and they need a union to kind of stand up and say, hey, this is unacceptable, you need to change this, and if you don't change this, you won't have anybody working for you. And that's a good thing. That's totally acceptable, and the sort of union busting tactics that a lot of big employers like Amazon employ are illegal, and they should definitely be called out for them and get in trouble for employing them more often. Now, that said, there have been some other stories somewhat recently where a union, pushing too hard to get, quote, not necessarily, like, because there's a lot of unions where at the point that they're not getting, ethical treatment or fair treatment. They're trying to get special treatment for their, and that's where unions tend to fall apart, I think, because these unions will come out and they'll try to play hardball to get these like unrealistic demands met, right? So look at Hostess, for example. The unions basically twisted Hostess's arm and forced them to agree to this unrealistic pension plan that they were never going to be able to fund, right? They just had no way of doing it, but they were forced into it because otherwise they wouldn't have any workers. And then they ended up having to file for bankruptcy, and all those fuckers lost their jobs. That's a case of a union failing because they were too greedy and not actually fulfilling a union's real intended purpose. Because they weren't trying to keep people safe from having their arms ripped off by machinery or anything. They were trying to get them extra special super money. I
understand that. I do.
And
but
the NFL. Sorry, I was gonna make another point real quick, but the NFL had a similar thing. The NFL, they had a union. Their players all went on strike, and they had a baseball strike too, but that was and that ultimately killed baseball. But the NFL one, because before the big baseball strike, baseball was like the American pastime, America's most watched sport. When they went on strike, they had all these fill-in players. The games were boring as shit. Nobody wanted to watch them anymore, and and baseball really declined as a result. Even once the real players came back, the fans didn't. The NFL a few years later had a similar thing, and the thing with the NFL was they were upset that you had all these marquee players, these big time quarterbacks making these $1 million contracts, and then everybody else was getting nothing, in comparison. So they were like, oh, we're going to set up this system where every player gets a yearly raise based on and it's like a minimum like raise amount, like per minimum salary amount by number of years they've been with your team or with the league. I can't remember which one it is, but anyway, so they put these things into place, and they're like, haha, now everybody will get raises, and we did our job. Well, that's not what happened. It's not everybody got raises. It's they got raises up to a point, and then when they were no longer worth it, they got fired and replaced with a new guy who didn't have as high of a wage cap. So instead of these guys getting slightly less money, they were getting no money. So, so the NFL union failed its players rather than serving their interests, because they tried to force the NFL to give everybody raises in a semi-equal fashion, and instead they forced the less talented players to be fired more quickly and have shorter careers.
It's kind of fucked if you think about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but like that's how it worked. Like that's what happened. Like that. The people don't think about what's realistically going to happen in these scenarios before they propose these demands, and then they just surprise Pikachu face when it blows up in their fucking faces.
Surprise Pikachu face.
Yeah. They're just like, Pika?
Yeah, like you use your head, you look back, and you think, okay, how can this system be exploited?
Yeah,
and they're going.
Like what? Yeah. Like when you sign before you sign that contract, you look at it real hard and you go, okay, what is a reasonable corporation who doesn't want to pay these people going to do?
Yeah.
And if you can't think about that, then you probably don't need to be one of these union lawyers, because like that's a big deal. Like, they really fucked over a lot of NFL players. There's a lot of linemen and whatnot that had to retire, 2, 3, 4, 5 years early because they weren't worth the big bucks that the NFL would have had to pay them to keep them on the payroll. So yeah. It sucks.
There are all sorts of complications that come up, like just enforcement. You make these rules, you put them into place, and then even if they were solid rules, you can't guarantee every individual at every level is, adhering to them.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, if the rules are well done enough, that when you find people that are not playing by them, then you can penalize them accordingly. But like I said, there's a fine line to me between a union that's really making a difference and helping the people that work there. Like I said, a situation like Amazon is a perfect example where, if Amazon got all of its workers unionized, I think they have like one location that has a union now. But if they got all their warehouses unionized, despite all of the union busting tactics that Amazon is using, if they managed to get all their locations unionized and like part of a single union, then that union's collective bargaining power would be huge, and they would finally be able to, actually get bathroom breaks and shit, like literal shit. Anyway, like but like and like I said, that's a situation where a union is needed. But like a union, I think, needs to have an exit strategy when it's created. Like a union does not need to exist in perpetuity forever. In order to,
Yeah, you're right. That's correct.
Actually. Because it's something where if you get what you need, and there's like a legally binding contract in place that says they have to enforce those rules, you know.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, the union does not really need to exist anymore. And at that point, it's just a drain on all the workers' resources because they're paying these dues to the union every month, which are supposed to serve, which is supposed to be kind of like paying into an insurance policy. Oh, yeah, if the union decides we go on strike, the union pays your salary instead of the employer, and it takes that money from the dues that everybody was paying, you know. But you know, if if the union's piggy bank runs out, you know, that's kind of a bad thing. And you know, with this Hollywood strike, it's like, you know, what are they really trying to change here? What's really trying to be achieved? You know, like it's something where if they have a solid cause that they're working towards, that's one thing. But if they're just trying to get, you know, like, you know, George Lucas had to, like, he actually pissed off the Screen Actors Guild when he did Star Wars because he didn't have all the actors' names in the credits at the beginning of the movie because he had that iconic cinematic story narration role where you know, it was like basically the exposition role at the beginning where the words are going upwards, and you know, like that's technically not supposed to be able to happen in a movie because of Screen Actors Guild rules. You have to credit all the actors and everything first, you know.
Well, first, so that's why we see the funny names all over the screen popping in as someone does something mundane.
Yeah, like so that's one of the reasons that you see these movie openings done the way they do. Like, you know, like you look at the Marvel movies, and they like a lot of them have like these animated openings and whatnot, you know, where they're crediting everybody, and it's because of Actors Guild guidelines, you know. So, you know, like that's not something that movies all do because they think it's a cool stylistic choice. They do it because they are kind of forced to. And Lucas really wanted to do something else with his opening, and you know, he earned some ire for that for a while, you know, and he had to like negotiate some sort of special treaty with them basically in order to get them to shut up and let him do the movie the way he wanted it, you know. So
I think that's something more people in our culture are becoming aware of, how much, you know, impact just the dollar has on our art in its entirety.
Yeah, it's something where, you know, the funniest thing about Star Wars was that George Lucas's original intention was to make a Flash Gordon movie.
Oh yeah, I remember.
If you're not familiar with Flash Gordon, he was super popular in the '60s, I believe.
I know who Flash Gordon is.
Yeah, like
that's the savior of the universe. Yeah.
So like, you know, he fought with Ming the Merciless and all this stuff. Like he was a comic book character, and like he's owned by the same comic book company that owns like the characters like the Phantom and a couple other obscure superhero type characters. But anyway, so Flash Gordon, like George Lucas approached the rights holders for Flash Gordon and said, "Hey, I want to do a movie based on this franchise. Would you permit me to do that?" And they basically told him no. So he did like what Bender does in Futurama, and he goes, "Fine, I'll make my own movie with blackjack and hookers."
Blackjack and hookers.
You know, so, and now way more people know what Star Wars is than know what Flash Gordon is. So,
How the turntables table.
Right. So yeah. It's pretty funny and ironic, like just let the man direct. Yeah, just let the man
I
cook.
truly believe there are two governing forces in
Yeah.
life, and one is luck, the other is humor.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It's funny too, because like, could you imagine if somebody in that room was just like, wait, let him cook, you know, like, you know, because Flash Gordon could have been like every bit as huge as Star Wars is now if they had just let Lucas do what he wanted, but instead, Star Wars got all that fame and notoriety, and Flash Gordon has become more of a footnote, you know, like. Struggling to maintain relevancy in the modern age, but
It's basically a meme at this point.
Yeah, like basically the only thing like the thing that people see most for Flash Gordon now is that song, the Flash and like the memes that people do with it, like with like the birds in the nest and shit, like those memes are great, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, so it's funny that like there was another similar situation that personally makes me mad every time I think about it. But basically, there was a situation where Hayao Miyazaki, before he was the stupidly famous Japanese animation director that he is today, he used to direct like animated series, right? And he has quite a few old animated series under his belt, like from the 70s, mostly, for various companies that he, like I said, there were just several animated series that he worked on as a director, and there was a point where he had basically lost his job. Like I think he basically left the studio that he was working with to go to another studio with a friend of his. But basically, he was striking out with this new studio, and this new studio thought that they had an in with Astrid Lindgren, who is a writer who was the original creator of Pippi Longstocking, or Pippi Langstrumpf, as she's referred to in Lindgren's native language. So,
just to be a shitter, what language is that?
I think it's Swiss or Danish, or Swedish. One of those three languages. One of those European languages.
My money was on Dutch.
Yeah, so
she's Wendy's.
Yeah. Anyway, so anyway, they thought that they had this in with Astrid Lindgren, and so they sent Miyazaki and a couple of his colleagues out to visit her in person and pitch the idea for this animated series they wanted to do based on Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, she's Swedish.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought it might be Swedish. Anyway, so he went to her native country and her home country, and basically he was just kind of sightseeing, like on the company dime, and he drew some absolutely amazing pictures while he was there, in preparation for this, because he wanted to kind of set the series in this place that Lindgren lived, and unfortunately, at the time, Lindgren was kind of recovering from a let's see, like she wasn't recovering from anything medical, but basically Lindgren had this really bad experience where she licensed out her character for a movie or TV adaptation, and the adaptation that was produced was one she absolutely hated.
I've heard this story.
So Lindgren had at the time was being very defensive about who could and couldn't adapt her work, and so she never even met with Miyazaki. But basically there was this one film I think it was a mini like a TV series, like a miniature TV series or something, that was an adaptation of her work, and the only way that she would let them work on it is if she wrote the fucking script. So which is kind of funny because that to me is one of those things where, like for the person who's making the thing, it's like, the wearing the crying face mask while you're smiling behind it, it's kind of like that meme, because it's like, oh no, the original author wants to write the script for it. That's terrible.
Yeah, like what?
Like Weird Al had a similar story. He was the group that did that song, Money for Nothing and the Chicks for Free, that song. Yeah. Anyway, he called them up and was like, "Hey, can I do this parody version of your song? It's gonna be about the Beverly Hillbillies." And the lead guitarist is like, "Okay, but only if I get to play guitar on it." He's like, "Okay." Twist my fucking arm, just like, like there's a condition for you, So yeah.
And I'm just thinking about how fucking Hayao Miyazaki draws little fat kids.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, the funny thing about the whole experience that he had with going and seeing all that scenery and doing all those drawings and not getting to see Astrid Lindgren and then coming, like, he actually came home, and I think he was sick after he got home for a while. But anyway, but what ended up happening is he ended up using all of the stuff that he did for that project, all those drawings and stuff, all those references that he created. He ended up using them in works, like, basically throughout the rest of his career. Like the most notable one is there was an anime series, like, basically when he went back to Japan, the anime studio that he was working for, there was this sensation in the Japanese media about these pandas. The Chinese had lent or sold. I think China usually lends pandas and won't actually sell them to other countries. But basically Japan had acquired a couple of pandas, and they were at the zoo, and the Japanese populace was going nuts for them. It was like this pandemania type situation, and pandemonium. Yeah. Anyway, so if you prefer, but anyway, so this studio that Miyazaki was working for decided to take advantage of this panda sensationalism, right? And so they tapped Miyazaki to direct this series, which I believe was called Panda Go Panda, and it's about a little girl who winds up living with a pair of pandas, and he basically just took his character design for Pippi Longstocking and modified it slightly, and that was the female protagonist, the little girl that he used for that series, like, so that character design for the female protag came from his work on the Pippi Longstocking series that never materialized. So that's why she's the pigtailed redhead in that series. So that was how he ended up using her character design, and then Miyazaki wound up like because not maybe not too many years after that, he ended up starting Studio Ghibli, and there was a drawing that he did, and it was a concept for an episode that he wanted to do in the Pippi Longstocking series, and there was this this deer, like this sort of mystical deer creature, and like you could see like elements of this deer's design being used in like Princess Mononoke, and and some of his other works later on. But so like
I just had a friend of mine actually mention something like that earlier today.
Yeah.
Because they were saying like, because they used to write music. This guy was a friend of mine back in high school. Back when we were like 16 years old. He was already like big fucking like he was playing like fucking metal at concerts and shit. And and he was telling me, like, he posts on Facebook today. He's like, well, he's like, I know a lot of the riffs I've been writing sound a lot like my early stuff, but I'm still gonna use it because a lot of you guys don't remember it. And so
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was 22 years ago, and it's like, I know it's next to impossible to find online, but at the same time, it's like, I remember that shit. I'm gonna remember it forever.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of funny that he's stealing from himself just to make new
Yeah,
music.
yeah, exactly. He's basically taking like that valuable experience that he stored up during that Europe trip and turning it into new content years later. So like that trip, while originally seeming very fruitless, like if you think about like what he actually got accomplished and everything, wound up being something that really helped him with his career, by and large later, because it was something that he drew inspiration from during, like I said, a lot of the subsequent years of his career. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of fortunate for him, I think, that he was able to derive so much.
Yeah, he turned something that should have been like a complete waste of time into a real blessing, because he did so many sketches of like the cityscapes and everything. That cityscape that he drew, he did a cityscape sketch, and he ended up using a cityscape that looked very similar to it in Kiki's Delivery Service. So he basically sat on a hill and sketched the city as he looked out, and he ended up using that for some of the aerial shots in Kiki's Delivery Service, because she flies in that movie. So he used those aerial views that he took from that city as the blueprints sort of for some of those aerial views from Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah, not many movies are directed more mindfully.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant.
Yeah, well, it's funny too, because Miyazaki, when Miyazaki is directing a movie, he's not just directing it. Like, if you look at the credits for a Miyazaki movie, they'll have...
he's fucking right there in there.
Yeah, like, it's something where he's not just the director for most of the movies he's in. He's like also the lead character designer, and also the lead storyboard artist, and also the like.
Yeah,
he's
like
basically
a proper
doing everything he
lead.
fucking can for the movie.
Yeah.
And there's a story that John Lasseter told, and I want to say it was it Howl's Moving Castle, or was it one of his other movies? But basically, Lasseter visited Miyazaki because basically Pixar and Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli had gotten together, and they did like this. I think it was like a 6-film deal where they would pick up and translate like 6 films, and like it was like 3 of their current ones, and then like 3 more that they hadn't done yet, something like that. But anyway, so it was this thing where Pixar was going to be, handling the translations for a lot of Studio Ghibli movies. So anyway, so Lasseter went all the way to Japan to visit Miyazaki at the studio, and while he's there, Lasseter starts going through Miyazaki's trash can, looking for like scrapped art ideas and stuff to like pillage and take home because he's like such a huge fan, right? And Miyazaki's like, no, and he like goes through like some fucking storyboards, and he goes and he grabs one out and he hands it to Lasseter, and he's like, here, take this one. And he's like, oh, okay. So Lasseter takes this home, and then like years later, after that movie was done and published and everything, Miyazaki goes and visits Lasseter at Pixar, and he's in Lasseter's office, and Lasseter has that storyboard framed on the wall, and Miyazaki goes over to it and he looks at it, and then he turns to Lasseter and he says, I probably should have kept that in the movie. Because that scene got edited out because he gave Lasseter a fucking storyboard.
Fucking hell.
What a fucking gamer. I'll be real. That's the kind of shit I do. That's insane. Oh my god.
So Lasseter said he felt kind of guilty afterwards. He's like, man, that scene would have gotten animated if I hadn't gone through Miyazaki's trash.
Damn. I really butterfly affected this one up real bad.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, you can't blame the guy.
No, not really.
Going through the trash
like,
can outside the studio, though, where he couldn't see me. Like,
if I were him, I would be apologizing publicly too for my accidental disservice to the world.
He'd be dumpster diving Studio Ghibli hard. Like Miyazaki's table scraps. Just.
Bro, he threw Totoro on a napkin and I'm popping off.
You know that was something Pablo Picasso used to do to try and avoid paying bills.
Oh yeah,
he would write a check, but then he'd draw a little picture on it, in the hopes that the person who he wrote the check to wouldn't cash it because it was a Pablo Picasso original.
Lol.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was legit something Picasso did.
I need to read up on that guy. I feel like he shouldn't have been as famous as he was.
Oh man. But yeah.
Oh, I had another Hayao Miyazaki story. Let's see if I can remember it. Oh, just on Twitter the other day, I saw somebody mentioning a translated just text that he said. Basically, he was saying that he didn't get Mecha because to him, it was basically superficial, is what he was saying. Like the kid gets in a robot, he didn't build the robot. Rarely does he have anything to do with the robot. Really, it's just like kind of uninvolved.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's not exactly true for the entirety of the genre, you know.
Right.
There,
you look,
there are many shows that
Gundam
make
Seed
cases.
comes to mind.
For like
Tetsujin 28. Gundam Seed comes to mind because he doesn't just get in the robot and go. He actually has to rewrite the entire OS before the robot starts moving.
Right, and it can be stuff. I don't know. They can facilitate in a lot of ways. I think Miyazaki specifically was thinking like, "Oh, you should build your own machine from the ground up. You should put that time in." And that's not the case every time. You know, sometimes it's like a partner relationship. You know, you maintain the vehicle basically.
You know, it's funny because that kind of strikes me as a little hypocritical because. Miyazaki loves aviation, and he's constantly putting airplanes in his movies anytime he gets a chance to. And it's like, how's that different, my guy? Like, you know, like they didn't build that plane, you know, except in the movie that The Wind Rises. That was another Studio Ghibli movie, but like I said, in most cases,
that was the point.
You know, Porco Rosso didn't build the plane that he was flying in that movie. You know, like.
Right. You know. Yeah. I think a lot of people can be pretty hypocritical when it comes to art without
Right.
realizing.
Yeah.
But
kind of
yeah, I
funny,
thought that was
yeah.
interesting that he has distaste for that and like other stuff in anime, and it's like, homie, do you watch anime?
Right. Well,
Like good ones?
yeah. Well, it's funny too because Miyazaki, like I already touched a little bit earlier on Miyazaki's work ethic, how he kind of will just do everything if you sit there and let him. Like he'll do the character designs and the storyboards and the script and the directing and like the writing and it's like. He's basically like doing like everything except the animation by himself. But he, one of the things that was kind of a meme for a while between him and Lasseter was Lasseter would go and visit his office, and he would talk about the movie that he was doing, and he's like, "Yeah, this is probably gonna be my last movie. I'm probably gonna retire." And then afterwards, one of the other people at the studio would kind of take Lasseter aside and be like, "He's already working on the next one."
Yeah.
He's already got designs and scripts going for another movie after this.
Homie's got both hands fully in the pie. He's not coming out anytime soon.
Yeah. He's just not going to stop. They he did eventually, but yeah, it took a while. Like, I heard he was working on a movie about like a caterpillar that ended up getting canceled. It's just one of the things that he had storyboards and draw and art for that he never really did anything with. But
I wonder what he decided to do now.
Yeah, I think he's just retired, but he
what
definitely
I mean.
deserves it though.
Yeah, like his passion and his work were like just intertwined for decades. That's gotta be weird to get out of.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's got enough money where he could just spend his time lying on a beach in Maui and
Well, I'm sure he has fuck you money. I'm just wondering what he's doing with it.
Right,
I guess. And who knows? Maybe he'll go travel all over the place, and then he'll draw a bunch of shit, and then he'll get inspired to come back and make another fucking movie. Because that totally sounds like something he would fucking do. To be honest. Some scenic live to 100, and then to celebrate, he makes a new movie.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I got one more.
Right. Just hold out until they get that anti-aging technology done, Hayao Miyazaki. It's okay.
I think that's the last one. Next day they announce you can live forever.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing a video online, and it's at the same time hopeful and terrifying, because like nobody's considering like the downsides of this, but basically, because scientists never consider the downside. They're just like, oh, I wonder if I could do that, and then they do it, and they're like, oh, yeah, I should have considered the downside maybe, but basically. It was this scientist, and he's talking about we kind of figured out how to manipulate genetic chromosomes regarding age, and they're like, yeah, this mouse, like we made it, it's like the same age as this mouse, but we made it look like really old, like we made this mouse like look and feel older by messing with the genetics, and we could do the opposite. We can take the
other pieces and put them in the other spots.
We can take the genetics and that of an older person or mouse and make them younger again, and so he said that like ideally or eventually it'll get to the point where somebody could just take a pill every once in a while and it'll fix their genetics and make them young again.
That's what Miyazaki said?
No, this is a video where there's a scientist talking about it. But I was thinking about it in terms of like, wouldn't that be great, to kind of preserve some of the better minds out, of our time, and then I was like, but who's gonna really benefit from that is the asshole politicians, like the people who like these senators with no fucking term limits that'll just be in the Senate forever, like.
Well, at this stage, if we're lucky, there'll just be hella side effects, and they'll just like rot themselves or something.
Hopefully, Mitch McConnell melts like that Nazi in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. But it's just like,
Don't look.
But yeah, just or Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, I think it's Raiders of the Lost. Anyway, the one with the melting Nazi, that one. Hopefully, Mitch McConnell just melts like that guy. Like it's.
Yeah, I thought Last Crusade had a lot of melting Nazis.
Yeah, something, I don't know. Whatever the movie with the melting Nazis was, I can hardly keep them straight. I didn't watch a ton of the Indiana Jones movies like as religiously as a lot of other people did. I was just kind of like,
yeah, that was the Lost Ark, yes.
Lost Ark, yeah, because I know the Temple of Doom had the guy who could rip your heart out just by thinking about it or whatever, he was and there's that really funny scene where he's getting ready to do it to the woman, but it looks like he's just trying to grope her tit, But yeah, just shit like that.
I kind of get where Holocaust deniers are coming from, because how could there be that many Nazis? Come on, we really kill 200, 300 per game. There's no way there's that.
Yeah, I used to own all of the Indiana Jones DVDs, but I don't know what I did with them.
Yeah.
Maybe
somebody hid them in an elaborate trap-filled temple for you to find.
Gee, I wonder what animal could possibly be guarding that collection.
You have to
snakes.
Basically, you have to wait until they make an equal number of crappy Indiana Jones movies, and then go into the temple and swap out the shitty Indiana Jones movies for the good ones. Because the weight.
Yeah. You have to have all the shitty ones for one good one.
Have all the shitty ones. You have to, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and all this other shit, and then you have to go in and just swap the weight out. That way it won't set off the final booby trap that kills everybody. Yeah. So, jeez. But yeah.
We've managed to go the full first hour and a half or so and actually keep up conversation unbroken almost.
Oh yeah.
It's
absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry, I zoned out a little. I was thinking about fucking Harrison Ford just dropping dead because someone set off a booby trap in the fucking Temple of the Good Indiana Jones movie.
Fucking hell.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Good movies.
You put the wrong weight on the pedestal. Harrison Ford is dead. There is no good movie.
Oh man, damn. Shit. Indiana Jones versus Yosemite Sam. Or Montana Max.
All three of them stand in a circle shooting at each other. None of the bullets hit.
Yeah.
They might hit Sam.
Yeah, because
He can take it.
Because the thing with in Tiny Toon Adventures, like each of the characters in that show was meant to be like a sort of a take on, like a juvenile take on one of the Looney Tunes mainstays. So Montana Max was basically supposed to be like the alter ego for Yosemite Sam.
Get it. The junior.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the junior version. He's a little red-headed kid, but instead of waving a gun around, he's waving his money around instead.
How did I never get that? How did I never make that?
And then Elmira was meant to be the Elmer Fudd. The Elmira Duff. It's just Fudd backwards. And the thing is, she instead of trying to kill the animals with a gun, she squeezes them to death with her misguided affections. So. She just loves.
Oh yeah, that they already had a mainstay character for that, yeah.
But yeah, Foulmouth was meant to be like the Foghorn Leghorn stand-in.
Foulmouth, Christ. Okay.
Basically each one was meant to be kind of like an updated version of the trope that their Looney Tunes counterpart was based on,
It sounds like they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's an episode where everybody is hanging out with their quote-unquote mentors from the Looney Tunes, but Babs doesn't have one,
I was gonna say, so who is Shirley Laloon then?
I'm not sure if Shirley had a character in particular, because Babs didn't necessarily have one either, because I think they added a lot of female characters to the cast, to try and round it out a little bit. Because Hampton obviously was supposed to be like a Porky Pig type.
I will kind of say though that it kind of worked in a roundabout way. It went backwards with Babs, because it was almost because of the fact that Buster and Babs had their own little thing going on, that they kind of like backtracked for the Space Jam movie and gave us a female bunny. In Lola, but I think that was kind of. But I feel like that was kind of like field test with Babs.
Yeah, well, the thing with Buster and Babs is a lot of people misunderstand their no relation joke. Because there were a lot of people that were getting upset about the Tiny Toons reboot because they have Buster and Babs as siblings. But one of their lines from the original show was Buster and Babs Bunny, when they're introducing themselves, no relation, right?
They meant no relation to Bugs Bunny.
Exactly. It's something where when you have a last name that's similar to a famous person, saying no relation is a way of saying you're not related to that famous person. So they're basically saying we're not related to Bugs Bunny, we're not related to each other. So, it's definitely
funny.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily not canon that they're siblings. They may have just not made that clear in the original, So
it was a wording trick.
Yeah, so people misunderstood that tagline, which was kind of their catchphrase, and thought that they were kind of supposed to be not related to each other, which they could very well have been. That could have been the intent. But as far as I remember, though, because I don't remember Tiny Toons super clearly, I haven't seen it in a while, but as far as I remember, I think they lived in separate spots, so they probably were not meant to be related in the original show, but it's not necessarily a complete stretch to do that in the new one, at least.
Yeah, just have them be siblings.
Yeah, so anyway, God, sorry, my foot keeps hurting me. Something where they had an episode where, all the other characters are hanging out with their Looney Tunes mentors and Babs doesn't have one. and Babs goes on like this kind of vision quest sort of thing, and it's making fun of the movie Field of Dreams, where there's like a voice whispering to her to like lead her along the way, and she ends up coming across Bosco's girlfriend Honey, and that's like, supposed to be like her mentor, like, and the thing with Bosco is Bosco was an early Looney Tunes character who was kind of on the shit list for a long time because Bosco's original character design looks a fuck of a lot like blackface. So the Bosco that shows up in Tiny Toon Adventures, however, was heavily redesigned, and he looks more like some sort of a dog, or to be more precise, he looks like one of the Animaniacs. So it's something where that episode, I think, might have been sort of a precursor to what ended up becoming the Animaniacs, because they had Bosco and Honey with these redesigns that, and then they took those same types of designs and used them to create the Warner Brothers characters for Animaniacs later, so, and then they left it kind of ambiguous as to what animal they were supposed to be. Like,
yeah, they gave him a tail, huh? He didn't used to have one.
Yeah, because like if you look back at Bosco's original character design, like I said, it looks like just a short black dude, like blackface type caricature, and then for the Tiny Toon Adventures redesign, they totally overhauled him, and like I said, he looks more like the Warner Brothers character design from Animaniacs. So,
yeah, that was probably a good idea.
Yeah, no, it definitely wouldn't have been good to have Bosco just there. And so it was a way of paying homage to the character and what he meant to the company without being overtly racist, So
we love some balance in our diet.
Yeah, and it's funny too because Warner Brothers has actually had that problem a lot with some of their characters, and it's funny because they kind of put the kibosh on Pepe Le Pew, especially during the Me Too crap. Like they were.
Mexico fucking loves Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, no, they around the same time they were trying to 86 Speedy Gonzalez, and all the Latinos were like, "Hey, where'd our guy go? We love him." And they're like, "You weren't offended?" And they're like, "No, we love that guy." He's a Mexican mouse putting the screws to an American cat. Well, he's like their little hero, It's like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's not like he ever loses.
And yeah, maybe you could redesign him and take the sombrero off or something, but that doesn't mean he's like completely useless as a character,
And I don't know. Also, like as a character, he's very like. I don't know. He sings, he dances, he does the mariachi thing too.
Speedy Gonzalez has some iconic fucking cartoons.
He's just a real likable little fella.
Yeah. I think he's beloved not just by American audiences.
He's just a little guy.
By audiences.
I think he's just a little guy.
He's just a lovable little guy. He's just fantastic. But yeah, the Slowpoke Rodriguez.
I want to hear somebody say some shit like that about, I don't know, Guts from Berserk.
Oh, man.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, call this dog a little guy.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh shit! Hey, Hunger, did you ever lose a box full of spells like down here in caves anywhere? Because I just found it.
I may have put one somewhere. I'm not sure.
Like a shulker box full of spells. It's right over here.
That's funny. The ancient box of spells.
Dangerous magics left callously lying around.
Right. Those magics were sealed away and never intended to see the light of day again. You've doomed us all. No. Oh, man.
Unearthing the forbidden scrolls.
Oh, man. So, I don't know how many were here when I mentioned this, but, so, there's a guy I know, through work, but he sent me a link, the other day for this, writing contest that's going on. And basically, it's the publisher J Novel Club, who publishes my favorite light novel series in the U.S. right now. Anyway, but they are doing this contest for basically original English language light novels, right? And so, like, submissions start in August. And the deadline is in January. So, you know, I've been writing a book for a while, but the one I'm writing is way too damn long for this contest. Like, they're like 35,000 to 100,000 words, and I'm like well over 200,000 at this point. So, like, you know, 400 pages, you know, something like that on the book I'm writing. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we're not going to be able to make that work. So instead of doing that, instead of trying to trim down the one that I'm working on and make that work for this contest, I've been thinking about writing a new one. And
are you going to do that concurrently or like as a break?
Yeah, basically, I'll probably kind of take a little bit of a break from working on the story that I'm working on, and then to work on the new one, because, like I said, I've only got a few months to get the dang thing done before the deadline. So,
yeah.
But
that
anyway,
should be fun.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I've came up with this idea, and I think it's going to be pretty funny. I want to try, like, I'm thinking about making this like more of a silly story, you know, like a lot of comedy in it. So hopefully,
like tongue-in-cheek comedy or
like,
in-your-face comedy.
More of a so basically the idea I came up with, right, is to do a story about a guy who almost gets isekai'd.
Well, almost.
Yeah, like basically like a god shows up and he's like, oh hey, I need you to save my world. I'm gonna give you all these broken sheet powers and stuff in exchange. And he's like, okay, yeah, and like so the god like gives him all these cheat powers, and he's like, oh, my world just got destroyed. Never mind.
My world's dead.
So he's left behind with these OP cheat skills, and then like all these other gods and stuff start trying to recruit him to their worlds to save them, and and he's just like dodging isekais left and right, you know, you know, dodging assassination attempts from Truck-kun, and you know, like, you know, I just feel like the concept alone is perfect, so I'm just kind of go with that, you know. So, you know.
Should be fun. You can get a lot of good character moments.
Original concept, do not steal. Anyway.
Won't steal. Remember not to steal. Stealing is bad and illegal. This message is brought to you by Dr. Wiley.
But yeah, so... Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Wily steals all of Dr. Light's robots, calls them his robot masters. Dr. Light adapts his dual gear system. How dare you steal my technology?
Thief, you son of a bitch!
Oh god, yeah.
Look at Mega Man. I would rather fucking retch into a toilet for 4 hours. I fucking hate Mega Man.
Right. So funny though. But yeah, like I said, I'm just kind of like, this is, I started thinking about this premise, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, this could actually work. This
What a potential.
just, dude, like coming up with scenarios for this dude to be like dodging isekais and like magic circle appears at his feet, he like jumps out of the way before he gets teleported to another world, that type of shit.
A lot of fucking just fun shit you can do.
Exactly. He's like, no. So yeah. Like for the intro, I'm gonna open it up with like, Japan is a dangerous place. Every day, dozens of people are sent to other worlds. Like some are hit by cars and trucks. Others are summoned via magical portals. But yeah, just basically just go in on the whole isekai genre. Just kind of like
Oh my god! You know what?
Yeah.
You should have a crisis where so many of the like protagonist type people have been taken that it's just like background characters running everything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just he'd be like, how many people have you taken to another world? No wonder Japan's birth rate's declining. What are you? Or no wonder Japan's population's declining. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. Isekai somebody else.
Aren't there other places on this world alone to take people from?
Right. It's so great. Just
have the government
I really
desperately
want to
trying to cover it up.
Go in on the tropes, just kind of.
Yeah.
Like, just have
that should be fun.
Have the protagonist just getting all like defensive and shit. Like, why is it gotta be me? It's like, but yeah.
Oh. Speaking of fun, I played a fun game instead of a game that made me angry for once.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like doing that sometimes.
Me too, sometimes. This one is Gravity Circuit.
Okay.
Which is Mega Man-esque.
Okay.
But it's like series Mega Man-esque. It's a very movement-based platformer. They give you a lot of enemies to toss around and like kind of just force your way through a stage if you know what you're doing.
Okay.
But it's Mega Man layout, 8 bosses, 8 stages,
Yeah.
Rather than get the powers of each boss, rock, paper, scissors style, you have one energy gauge and you have techniques. And after you beat a boss, you get 2 techniques, and you can buy and equip those.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what's fucking sick about it is it just has a lot of movement options. I don't know how better to put it, but like, if they don't have a proper like dash, you hold a button and you move faster. So it's a little interesting momentum wise, but there's a grapple. So the grapple works really well actually. Like even with the D-pad, getting the angles for your hook shots and swings is pretty like nice. You don't have to fucking use it. One of the power-ups you get is spawn platform. Another chip you can buy is double jump.
Oh, the double jump, that sounds like it's gonna be awesome, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weak vertically, but fucking horizontally, you are covered. Like, you do not need the hook shot if you don't want the hook shot, which is fucking epic. Like, there's level design where it's like, oh, I should use this hook shot that I have, and like one secret I think it's required, but like that, the amount of fucking freedom I had to just play how I wanted was very nice feeling. Very good game. Has a few secrets and collectibles to calm levels for. Only problem, too short. Too short game. Need more game.
Need more game.
Sequel soon, please.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel every time I finish watching or finish reading a volume of Ascendance of a Bookworm. I'm like, oh, this
damn, I need more now, though.
Yeah. It's I read the afterword. It's like, see you in volume 8, and I'm like, can't not soon enough. You know, like, I'm gonna need more of that, please. You know.
Sorely missed the whole time you're gone.
Right. She will be missed. You know, just the entire time she's not there. Just, you know. It's like, can I get some more of this? Can we get some more of this series, please? Just, you know. Yeah.
I don't. Go ahead.
So, like, I was up at work, right, and like, you know, we were talking about, you know, Sentence of a Bookworm and how they keep not delivering it on time. Like, so there's this volume of side stories that came out before the most recent volume I finished reading overnight last night. And anyway, so there's these side stories, and I had you know, of course, requested a copy because why wouldn't I? And so my sister ordered it for me, and then they didn't send it, and that kind of upset me. So anyway, so she was telling me today that she's like, hey, yeah, you know, I was, you know, looking into that book to see if it was, you know, like what the status was on it, and it looks like they canceled the order. Oh. And so I pulled my cell phone out, and and I picked it up like I was calling somebody. I was like, deploy the ninjas, you know. Just, you know, it's.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, like just, you know, on what planet do you think you just get to fuck with me like that? Come on, you know, I need my bookworm. You know, it's not okay. Like, there is a pop-up parade for the main character coming out next year, and oh my gosh, I don't normally buy pop-up parades, but I'm getting this one.
Can't resist the.
No, here's the thing, right? I'm in trouble if they start like merchandising this series in earnest because, the thing is, she has tons of different outfits, and if they just make a figure for everyone, I'm gonna have to have them all. And you know,
oh yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ!
You know,
they got you hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, like it's, you know, it's just not okay. You know, like the.
Gotta pray they don't give you too much good merch.
Because the thing is, like, in some ways, this protagonist is definitely my spirit animal. Like the way she talks about books and reading and whatnot. Like, because, like, you know, I too want to murder people when they damage books. You know, so like, no, there's a scene where you know, she goes back to the temple library and finds that somebody has like trashed the place, like he's like ripped everything off the shelves and thrown it all over the library, and she's like, "Nah, we killed this man." You know, you know, I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of that would kind of be my take too.
Yeah.
But then she realizes that because this guy did this, she's going to get to reorganize the library however she wants it, and so she's like, "Oh, this is a positive after all. Hang on," you know. But
Yeah, I've seen my fair share of books in disrepair. It is a very sad.
Like, the thing is, we get, this place I work at, we sell lots of manga, so we get books in various stages of, looking like shit occasionally. And some of these books, I, A, don't know how they ended up in the condition that they wound up in, and B, want to kill the people that put them in that condition. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's something where, of course, I'm never going to act on any of these thoughts or anything for anybody who's listening going, oh, we gotta watch this guy.
This guy's a problem.
But,
Likes his books too much.
Like, listen, everybody has those types of urges. Everybody has been behind somebody who's being a dumbass in traffic and being like, this guy needs to die. But you don't do it. You don't just, like, go into a pit maneuver and knock them into a ditch because, like,
that would be insane.
Yeah, that'd be kind of insane, So, but like I said, it happens occasionally. You see somebody doing something in traffic, and you're just like, why were you born? Like,
Why do I have to occupy this beloved earth with you?
Just like, oh, good, it's the idiot driver of the day. Like,
Idiot driver of the day.
I'm on my commute going to work, and there's always that one fucking idiot. It just never fails. There's always an idiot. Like,
so there is room in front of you. The speed limit is 45. You are going 40 miles per hour. I think,
type of thing, And
I think my irritation is understandable. I'm going to pass you on the right now.
Yeah. Well, and just the way that some of these fuckers drive, it's just fucking.
Well, they don't pay attention, and for some reason they still got slapped with a license and let loose onto the roads with people who do pay attention.
Like, I don't know how Cracker Jacks was allowed to give away licenses in their boxes of caramel coated snacks, but that's not how it's supposed to work. Like,
they're dangerous beasts, these vehicles that we send hurtling towards each other at fucking 50, 60 miles per hour.
Yeah. Well,
like it's nothing as we dig into a bag of fucking, I don't know, M&Ms or something.
It's like either it's always like one of two types of idiots, right? There's always two types. It's either the person who has no idea what they're doing, they're like going super slow, like they come to a complete stop before making a turn, like back up all the traffic behind them and shit, like that type of shit. And then there's the guy who's just in such a hurry to get to the next red light. That guy who doesn't understand that speeding in town doesn't work. And they're just like zooming around as fast as they possibly can, and then like a couple like a few seconds later, you're like casually pulling up next to them at the fucking red light, going, "Yeah, that helped."
Yeah, I have a coworker who does that. I drive home with that guy sometimes, and I've started kind of staggering when I leave because of it, because dude's fucking nuts. I don't understand. I genuinely.
And that's the thing is if you're on the highway, there's no traffic lights and whatnot, sure, go a few miles over the speed limit. Nobody's going to care. In fact, the people behind you will probably appreciate it. But
Exactly.
when you're in town, and you're like weaving through traffic at 50 miles an hour in like a 35 zone, and like risking people's lives with every fucking move you make, just to try and get to that red light like a few seconds before everybody else does.
Yeah, also most jobs, most appointments, they don't care if you're that punctual. If you're running that late anyway, you didn't fucking care to begin with. You do not need to be rushing.
Nobody likes Russians right now.
It's a little
bad
ridiculous.
time to be Russian.
If there are 20 cars in the road and you decide that you get to just move between them, like you're the fuck hero of the road or whatever, you're a piece of shit.
I had this one. There was this one time I was on the way home, right? And at the time there was the store in the parking lot next to the house was a grocery store, right? And there's this bitch that's going the opposite way down the street, and I'm turning right, and I have a light, like I have a green light that says I get to turn there, and they have a red light on their end, and they're making a legal left turn, like in my way, and we almost collide, and then they get out in the parking lot of the store. Which is like right near my house, and so like I like freaking turned into the parking lot too, and I was like yelling at them, and they're acting like it's my fault, it's like, how's it my fault when I've got a legal green light and you got a fucking red light and you're making an illegal turn?
It's genuinely insane to see people just delude themselves into thinking they're just in the right all the time, regardless of evidence. And it's like, it makes me worry sometimes. It's like, do I have shit I'm like that with?
Yeah, like, it was funny too, because Daniel Tosh has a stand-up bit where I think it was Daniel Tosh. He's got a stand-up bit where he talks about about that, and he's talking about how like the other guy always thinks it's your fault. It's like, how dare you stop at a legal red light and let me hit you doing 80? That type of shit.
It really is hard to understand. I don't know. I'm very not big on driving. It terrifies me.
Yeah, I don't like driving either. I never really have.
Have to do it.
Yeah. Like there are people who will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go out on a nice, relaxing drive, and that's how I'm gonna spend my weekend." And that is not me.
No.
It's like, no. I would rather be inside, reading or writing or playing a video game or streaming or, anything that doesn't involve driving, really. Like, I'll procrastinate car trips. I'll be like, oh.
For real, yeah. Car is the tool that gets me places to do things when I feel like it or need to.
Be like, oh yeah, car trip. Yeah, I can do that tomorrow. I have enough food to last me another, like.
Yeah, like I'll wait a couple days. I have more time and I can make it.
Yeah.
I don't even have my driver's license yet, and I don't plan on getting it anytime soon because I don't feel like driving.
Yeah, if you don't have to drive, then don't is my recommendation.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I lived like that as long as I could, but now that I'm on my own, I need a fucking car, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But at least I can get to work. I fucking hate the buses. I've said this many times on Saturdays that I do not like the buses, I think. But I found out apparently I can take the ones in town for free with my ID from my job, which is cool, I guess, but they all suck, and I don't find them to be dependable transport, so... Short of my car, the battery flooding, that's the last time I took the bus.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It was around the sleeping time for me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I also kind of forgot I have brunch pretty early tomorrow with my sister.
Oh no. That reminds me of that Bill Burr bit where he's talking about how women come up with terrible ideas. Uh, he's like, he's talking about how like how his wife slash girlfriend is always coming up with stupid shit for them to do. Like, you want to go to brunch this Sunday? And he's like. He's like, yeah, sure, sleep doesn't sound good or anything. Let's go do that. Let's go pay $18. Let's go get up early on a Sunday and go pay $18 for eggs.
Yeah.
Powerful bats.
I definitely have felt like that at times with my sister, but in this case, it is very much a yummy food, French toast that I'm expecting to enjoy tomorrow.
Right.
So that helps. That's a reason to get up.
Right.
Alright, well, have a good rest of your nights, gamers.
Right. Thanks a bunch. Have yourself a really fucking great one.
Looks like you're very deep underground.
Trying. It's got some deep slate operatives getting in my way.
Yeah. That's how you know that you're more than 6 feet under, is because of all the deep slate that's down there. What's in the spring team? Oh, Quint says my headphones started playing ambient noise when I disconnected, and I don't know why, but it won't stop. Motherfucker seashell up to my ear. ASMR shit's weird as fuck.
If you hold a woman who's wearing a seashell bikini up to your ear, you can hear her scream.
Hi.
It's a Ron White joke.
Accidentally just stumbled under a part of the base that we didn't know about it existed before.
What now?
Hey, who?
I think we just stumbled into a part of the caves underneath base that we didn't know about before.
Oh. Okay.
There's a huge ass cave down here now, like in the deep slate.
Cool.
It's like in a part of the area that I hadn't like built teleporters to yet too. So Neat.
Nice, yeah.
Wait, what did he say?
He's digging down into the deep slate, and so we're at the negatives at right now, and so he dug down to a point where he's in a cave that, like a deep slate cave.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't built teleporters to or anything yet because I didn't know it was down here.
Yeah.
Or I probably did actually because
It's hanging in a lot of places. I don't like it.
There's a vast network of caves under the castle, and I totally meant to take advantage of that for this build. So, yeah.
Now I gotta find out how to get back up.
You might be deep enough to reach that giant underground dome that's down there, or at least close.
So, where is he? This is gonna take so long to clear out.
All right.
Even with commands. I do gotta say though, it is very late for me over here, and
Mhm.
I should probably get to bed to get my health back up. So
Okay.
next week when I get on my voice chat, I don't sound like this.
Right. Oh man.
But yeah, this was fun. Actually, I tried to get. I'm still trying to get my because I'm making a cherry grove village.
Yeah.
Once I finish that up, I'll put a teleporter there.
Okay.
I'll let you guys check that out. I know my brother's also been working on his city a little more, and he wants you to see his castle that he made.
Yeah.
But yeah, that can be another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys have a good night though.
Okay.
All right, later,
Thanks
guys.
much. Have a great one.
Yeah, later, Caps.
But yeah, that's the one problem with this type of build is there's so much clearing out to do.
Yeah, it's just so fucking rugged.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm gonna, like, right now I'm just gonna kind of concentrate on clearing one side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Clearing and building one fucking side of the thing. That way I have room to do stuff in. Yeah. joystick.
Huh.
Clear all this shit out. It's like playing a rail shooter. So new episodes of 3 of the anime I'm watching this season aired today or yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So let's see, we got the latest installments of Am I Really the Strongest? My cheat skill, my unique skill makes me overpowered even at level 1, and My Tiny Senpai.
Cool.
Like, you know. So yeah. Also, there's another anime that is on this season that I am definitely watching. It wasn't one that started like super early in the season. It started a little later, but it's been hilarious so far. It's called The Masterful Cat is Depressed Yet Again Today.
What the fuck?
Basically, the series is about a human whose cat takes care of her.
That's
like the cat cooks, cleans, does laundry, makes her lunches. You know.
So a regular life, but in reverse.
Right, but and basically the cat is huge. Like it's bigger than she is. Yeah. Yeah. But and it's funny because when I first started seeing the manga and everything and reading the premise for it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of those things where she's got this huge cat but nobody thinks it's weird. But it's the opposite. It's the series starts off and it's got this gorgeous animation in the first sequence. It's just showing a bunch of random people going along their daily lives and everything. Just trying to get you into the idea that this is the normal the real world Japan. And then this fucking cat. It shows the protagonist, the main, female lead character, and she's on the internet. And she's looking up, she's Google searched, world's largest cat, and she's looking at pictures of people who have cats that are not even half the size of hers, and she's sitting there thinking what the heck, why is my cat like this, because at first she didn't really question it when the cat started doing all this stuff, and now she's like, yeah, I don't think this is normal, and they had, I think it's airing on Fridays, so in yesterday's episode, she kind of confronts the cat. She's like, I don't think that this is normal, and she starts out she's trying to find out who what's really going on, and then it turns into, I'm so happy for all the stuff you do to me, thank you, sir, you do for me, thank you so much, she starts bawling and thanking him instead. She's
Jeez.
And there's this scene at the beginning of the second episode where the cat is just talking about what he thinks about his owner and everything, and it's and he's like, my owner is a completely worthless human being.
Jeez.
And he's I do what I must to get her to go to work so that I can get tomorrow's cat can, he calls the cat food cat cans,
I see.
But yeah, there's a scene where he gives her a beer, out of the fridge, and she's got her beer and he's got a can of cat food, and they're clinking them together and having a toast,
Acting as if the cat food was beer.
Yeah, basically, yeah, he's got the can of cat food acting like it's his beer, it's funny. Yeah, but yeah, it's just funny though, some of the stuff in there,
Sounds fantastic.
It's like, you know, the second episode shows a flashback to before to like the time where she originally picked the cat up, and because like she rescued him as a stray, right? Like it was like snowing outside, and this cat's like out in the snow, and she picks it up and brings it home. But anyway, so it's showing like a flashback, and like, you know, it's like she brings him into the house, and there's like a whole room just full of garbage, you know.
Jeez.
She just kind of throws the garbage in there, you know, when she's done with it. And so like, you know, now the cat is like keeping the house and everything, so like, you know, like making everything nice and all that stuff. But yeah, like it's just funny.
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, so that one's been way more fun than I was anticipating this season. So that's good.
Yeah. That sounds funner than all the other ones I've heard.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man. Let's see.
Ooh. Good.
All right. Let's switch over to the rocks. Polished brackstone. Whew. Man. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yes, we're good. All right. Oh, there we go. Good deal. Okay. Okay. dicey part here.
Huh.
There we go. Okay, now I can still see the OBS thing. Okay.
Huh. Damn.
Alright, this ought to be fun. Here we go. Oh crap, yeah, I should do that. Should be doing mess that up. Actually, no, I don't need all that. Just need to Let's get some movement here. Black again. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. we? Alright, we're back. And after that first big hassle at the beginning of the stream, it was really behaving itself. And
I mean, it did cut off at the very beginning of the stream.
right. And then it behaved itself for like over 3 hours after that. And now it's like, oh.
But everyone stopped talking. Well, don't mind if I just fuck myself over then.
Yeah, time to fuck up again, yeah. So yeah. So we got at least a little bit of good time now. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see, should I switch back to black or should I go to blue? That's the question. I think we'll do blue for now. Okay. Alright. Let's go back to black here.
Oh, there we go.
Alright, let's get the blue back out. Almost done with this guy. There's that. There's that. There we go. There. Two. Okay. I think that might. Oh wait, no, there's still a couple. Out of my damn way. Out of my damn way, bitches. Alright. There's still a couple. to do. Let's see, stop. This blue. Okay. Alright. Just black. Plastic black. Let's see. Okay. Back again. Nope, nope, it's not gonna be black. Alright, there's that. Okay. Seven. Okay. Black.
Ugh.
Okay. Okay. There we go. That's one down. So, I think we'll go ahead and call it here tonight. Next time, we'll clear out more of this mess down here
Mhm.
and make more of these murals. That'll be really fun.
I think my issue with some of these podcast streams is when it's just you and I just have nothing to say.
Yeah.
I never come up
Well,
with any.
and like I think sometimes I end up just kind of concentrating on the build that I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I could talk about the weather that went on here, but that's boring.
Oh, that weather. Silly, silly weather.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear about that weather that went on a homicidal murdering spree? It was crazy. Anyway. Alright.
You hear about Hurricane Katrina that hit the other side of the planet?
Oh, man. We think Katrina is connected to Al-Qaeda. We're gonna find her.
Yes. Maybe we'll find Samuel L. Jackson on the way there. And he'll kill everything with his motherfucks.
Yeah. Fuck everything with his mother kills. I mean, I think you said. Anyway. Alright, well there's the Black Wizard to get us started. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, thank everybody so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. We'll be back to continue this little project next week, so look forward to that. And of course, as always, I do hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.
Good night.
This is the way it had to